In the Nigeria Premier Football League, Academy Warriors and Kwara United on Wednesday battled a 1-1 draw in a rescheduled Matchday 2 fixture. And playing in the El Kanemi Stadium in Maiduguri, Emmanuel Ogbole gave Kwara United the lead in the 67th minute when he converted from the penalty spot. However, El Kanemi got the equalizer in the 94th minute through Risilanu Ismail to salvage a draw and also maintain their unbeaten start to the season. The Borno State-owned side are currently 5th on the table, while Kwara United are 11th on the log. And former second Vice President of the Nigeria Football Federation, SHEHU Dikko, has been appointed as the Chairman of the National Sports Commission. The appointment comes after President Bola Tinubu scrapped the Ministry of Sports Development and announced that its functions will be transferred to the NSC. Dikko also served as the chairman of the League Management Company LMC. The body was previously in charge of the affairs of the country's elite football division before a new board was constituted. He is a member of the organizing committee for the Confederation of African Football Interclub Competitions and Club Licensing Management and remains a member of FIFA Football Stakeholders Committee. And meanwhile, the former Sports Minister John Enoh has been reassigned as Minister of State for Trade and Investment. Well, of course, joining me now here to react to this appointment is Tayo Ogunseyi right here, of course, from our very own here at Afrosport. Great to have you, Tayo. And interesting 24 hours of saying that SHEHU Dikko, entered this new role less than we expected. Not like we expected this to happen, but it just seems like a very quick turn of events. And then we are seeing John Enoh, a person that we are very familiar with, move into another role, different from sports entirely.
Definitely, Ayomide, thank you very much. It's expected that there was going to be a change in the sports atmosphere. That's the foundation. And from what the presidency did after the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday, it shows that they are reacting to the cries of many Nigerians who are dissatisfied with the outcome of Nigeria's performance at the Olympics, where Nigeria participated without coming back with a single gold medal. And that's kind of a paved way for the introduction of the National Sports Commission. It's a departure from having the Sport Ministry run sport in Nigeria, because when the Sport Ministry take charge, it's a slow process. And those who are in that field, they do not really understand how important it is to do the business of sports. And now that we have the NSC, there is a chairman in SHEHU Dikko. Don't forget that he was the LMC chairman who oversaw the Nigerian League, though at that point in time, he started well in 2016. And at the later point, the league almost went into comatose. But now that he's been seeking for opportunities to be in charge, he also contested at the last election to be the NFF chairman. So being the DG right now, the chairman right now, whatever nomenclature you want to give it, it gives him the absolute control, because he has the marketing edge, he has the flair to also go out and get resources. So don't forget that what the government wants now is that they want an economy around sports. Sports shouldn't be a recreational kind of endeavor. It is business. So for SHEHU to have been appointed, I think it's a good one. But then there's always a word of caution, because it can start well, but where will it end? That's the question.
And the conversation around our administrators in sports here in Nigeria has always been, oh, these guys are not particularly skilled in that area. They are not the best hands that we have. But with SHEHU Dikko, it looks like it is changing, because SHEHU Dikko obviously is someone that clamors to be in these sort of positions for the sake that he understands the business of sports.
Yeah.
He understands also the competitive nature of sports as well.
Yeah, it was welcomed, his announcement yesterday, on Wednesday, by the government, that he will take charge, that the Sport Ministry should now unwind and kind of transfer everything to the Sports Commission. So he is the right, as the saying goes, the right square in the right hole, the right peg in the right hole. So I would say that there is high expectations. Nigerian sport has not been as good as it used to be. Professionals will now come in. He will form his team to drive the process of taking sports to where maybe where we want it to be. Football is his domain. He is into sport marketing. So finding himself in this position is what I said, as I said earlier, is what he's been longing for. And it's an opportunity for him to see how every sport, not football now, will get out there and dominate and push out that and show that Nigeria is what it should be.
Indeed, you mentioned that
space.
sports is not just recreation, but
Yeah.
you look at our sports policy over the years, and it does seem like sports has been just a recreational endeavor for Nigerians, even for some of our teams across different sports. But what sort of expectation are you having of SHEHU DIKKO now in terms of creating that business-like sports policy that can, get us even to compete with the best across different sports in biggest tournaments in the world?
Definitely. When you look at sport as a business, it's not government thing really. Government just provides the atmosphere. The last sports minister before Enoh, Sunday Dare, actually came up with a policy to ensure that sport is taken away from that recreational perspective into the business, the serious level of business. And he came up with that policy. The policy is still there. So for this time around, like Team Nigeria, what Team Nigeria should have been is that you have companies, firms, organizations coming around. Maybe they can even float shares for a team like Nigeria, so that for every Olympic, for every 4 years, there's always a preparation right at the end of when the Olympics ends. Not the system that we have presently that waits. It's a yearly budget thing that you have to give resources to prepare for the Olympics. That's always set Nigeria 10 years back into preparing for any major championship. That's why we don't usually, and Nigeria doesn't really usually perform all that. So he understands what is expected of him now. He knows that Nigerian sport is not at that level. So he needs to give that kick, get the atmosphere right, and drag in all those incentives for firms, organizations who are interested in sport, and also develop a kind of policy that will make sure that if you want, for some of your corporate social responsibilities, you divert that into sport development. And the government, of course, there will be tax incentives as well to make sure that these organizations, they see sport as a business, and where their kobo, their naira will be seen at the end of the day. Okay,
before I let you go, Tayo, last question. John Enoh, we'll miss him. He's leaving that role. But when you look back at his tenure, I mean, he's had just 1 year. I know that a lot of people have slated, the sports thing under him because of the performance at the Olympics. Do you think it's fair enough that, he's been slated in that way, that Team Nigeria didn't perform, and this is a good ground for him to be changed?
Well, he's more like a victim of circumstances, if I want to put it that way. He was appointed in August in 2023. And someone who doesn't really understand sport, when in his inaugural announcement, meeting the media, he said he was a farmer. Everybody knows that. So he said he was going to learn so many things. So in his learning process, the Olympics came in. The All African Games sets in. So the tournaments kept rolling in. And when you're not grounded in such situation, you're going to be swallowed. And when the Olympics came up like that, and Nigeria couldn't even win a single medal, and don't forget the Paralympics also went, they were in Paris, and they didn't get to the kind of measure they had 4 years earlier in Tokyo. So all this snowballed into a situation whereby the noise that for him to leave, or the ministry, the government to take a decisive action to take sports to beyond complaining level to praising level.
Well, fair enough, and we'll see what SHEHU DIKKO does with the new, of course, tenure, the new horizon, the National Sports Commission. But then, thank you very much, Tayo, for your thoughts here on Afrosport now.
Thank you, Ayomide.
Yeah.